remembers the halcyon days in World of Warcraft when you could fly at the start of expansions. You didn't have to wait an arbitrary amount of time. You weren't grounded for months. In the olden days, we actually did less. We didn't have to walk 15 miles in the snow without a map, uphill, just to be able to fly. It was an easier time, a simpler time. You just had to get to the required level and then go out and buy the license. Then, in 2014, Warlords of Draenor came out, and Blizzard decided that they wanted to make the game grounded and removed flying. They were adamant about this, and for some reason didn't think players would be all that upset with such a drastic change to the status quo. But boy oh boy, the backlash for this decision was swift and severe, even more potent than when they decided to make heroic dungeons a challenge again back in Cataclysm. You'd think Blizzard would have learned a lesson of sorts with the Cataclysm heroic change. You know, just changing something that players are used to. In this case, easier dungeons. You know, that tends to cause agitation. Players were used to heroic dungeons being easy, a good way to get gear. So when they were suddenly really hard, yeah, players pushed back. So I have no idea how they thought that taking away a huge quality of life feature, like being able to fly, wouldn't be met with a large amount of resistance. Heroic dungeons were only easy for an expansion, and players weren't happy about that change. Flying had been around for 4 expansions up to this point. Of course players weren't going to love this. It took losing countless subs and their forums being flooded with non-stop topics about bringing back flying before they decided to, you know, bring it back. But with a twist. You would have to do multiple tasks to unlock flying. It was no longer going to be the simple case of going to a vendor and buying a license. You had to earn your right to fly in the newer expansions by getting an achievement called Pathfinder. I actually didn't hate that idea. The problem was that they went completely overboard with it. The amount of stuff you had to do in order to unlock Pathfinder was, well, let's just say it might have been a very tedious chore that took quite a while to finish. Now, I know in Shadowlands they severely reduced the prerequisites to earn flying. Basically, you just have to do the story and you'll unlock it. So flying is just time-gated now. And the question I ask is, why does it take till the next big patch before flying is enabled? I mean, I think I know why. I think it probably has to do with trying to entice players to come back in 6 or so months. You know, I do think previously getting Pathfinder was asking a bit much, even though I like the idea of having to do some errands to earn the right to fly. They just made it too much. And Blizzard, ever with a heavy hand, completely gutted Pathfinder, and now it really is just a case of wait for it. So, when we look at Final Fantasy XIV and how it handles flying, well, I think this game did it perfectly, and it is right up my alley. You have to go around and do some quests. These quests are marked with a blue quest marker, and then you also have to find Aether Currents with your handy-dandy Aether Compass. Aether Currents are essentially these circular air spheres that are sprinkled throughout the map. What I find to be really cool about how Final Fantasy XIV handled this is, they baked finding these Aether Currents into the lore. You have to learn where these currents are so that you can know where to fly around. The currents are what allow you to stay in the air, and without knowledge of where they are, well, you would not be staying in the air for very long. I really like that. I think it's a cute explanation, and it's interactive. Not only that, Final Fantasy XIV is structured in such a way that if you are diligent with looking around for those Aether Currents and doing all the blue quests as they show up, by the time you are done with the zone, you will have found them all. Best of all, it's unlocked right away. They don't make you wait until a big patch before letting you spread your wings and fly around. Now, I know some players aren't a huge fan of the way Final Fantasy XIV handles getting flying, but you know what? I actually prefer this to buying a license like how World of Warcraft used to handle it. I like going around and exploring the zones, and being given reasons to do so. I like earning it. Anyways, those are my thoughts on how these two games handle flying. I really do think WoW would be better off if they just got rid of all that nonsensical time gating. I mean, does anyone like that? I think it would be cool if WoW made flying unlocked after, I don't know, finding all the locations in a zone and having maybe a questline to complete. Though, that is basically what Final Fantasy XIV does, so, yeah, that's it for this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and happy holidays.